for some football? Miami Dolphins making the call. Are you ready for some football? Let's dive in and catch that ball. Let's dive in and catch that ball. Clash like waves, hearts on the line. Trenches sweat, glory on the stage. Miami's warriors free from their cage. Feel the heat in the land of the brave. Triumph echoes on the sacred wave. Bobby Fins, FinStanza unite. Miami stands to fight. Lights burn bright.
Good evening, Fins Nation. Welcome to the season premiere of the Fins Talk post-game show, preseason edition. The Miami Dolphins losing to the Washington Commanders 7-20, but it's preseason, but we got a lot to talk about. Fins Sammy of Fins TV. Welcome, sir. FinStanza of FTSN, because he's everywhere. So welcome DSG. Good to see you up in here. Everyone who's tuning in, appreciate you. Yeah, Sammy felt right at home with all those Tua. I
didn't watch the game. I watched the Falcons game. I don't know. I had no idea what you're talking about.
But if you're watching live, wherever you're watching from, if you're watching on FTSN or Fins TV or RNX, we appreciate you watching here. Man, just very quick, we're gonna get into this game, especially the first drive on offense for the Miami Dolphins, and then everything else. There's a lot to talk about. But instant post-game reaction. Ev, I'm going to start with you. Football is back. What was the feeling before the game as you were getting ready, before the kickoff? How did you feel? Were you excited? Were you pumped?
Christmas. And I'm Jewish. It was Christmas for me. Honestly, it was like, it almost felt like for me, like I mentioned on Fins TV. So thank you again for the invite, Sammy. What I said a couple days ago was that this to me was going to feel like a regular season game because we're going to get to see the starters right away and get that little feel and that sense of when the starters are on the field playing together, what we might be able to see. Like yes, it's only a preseason game, but the big talk, what was the quarterback going to look like on his first drive? And what was the offensive line going to look like? What was our draft pick, our first wide receiver draft pick going to look like? All these little things. What was the sideline going to feel like? All that. And then it was just like that initial feel when it started, except for the broadcast production of preseason games. Outside of that, which is pretty mediocre, I'd rather hire Fins post-production to host these games. And in the words of Mick Foley, cheap pop. But I'm always going to post. I'm always going to go after the cheap pop over there. But no, honestly, it was just fun to watch football again. Like, it's to watch your team play football, whether they're at a Super Bowl contender or whether they're a rebuilding franchise. Football is unlike any other sport where you only get so many games in a given year. You don't get to watch it every single day. It's where you look forward to that moment. And the fact that we've been talking about football since the beginning of January, about seeing them play on the field again, it was like, I didn't care. I just wanted to watch football, and it was a blast. I was just so excited for that first moment to see Malik Willis take that team and see what he could do with it. I enjoyed it.
I just want to pull a full disclaimer for those in the chat. If you're seeing this is an inside thing going on, a joke there that Adrian totally got me with. I don't know if DSG knows what he's talking about, but DSG's right in on it. So it was hilarious, and it goes right on to East Texas Boys, or just FTSN in general. But appreciate it.
It's a family show, guys. It's a family show.
My goodness. I'm gonna put some people in time out. But Daniel, great to see you. Yes, I'm with you. Let me just say, it's preseason, right? I mean,
yeah.
And honestly, though, the way Miami football had been, I'm always excited for the year. I'm always a diehard Dolphins fan. You know that. Sammy knows that. Everybody who's watching knows it. But the past couple of seasons, when we get to preseason football, get to the season, the joy wasn't really. It was like, okay, it's football. Let's hope for the best, right? We got the stars, we got Tyreeks, we got these guys, but it's like let's just get to the season. We kind of know who we have and kind of hope that they've learned from their mistakes. This is the first season in a long time where I'm absolutely pumped to get started. And before the game, like I'm pumped. My chest is beating. I'm excited. As soon as I got home from work, hey, change what you're watching. We're not watching this. We're putting on the Dolphins game. Let's get ready. They're all sitting there. We're watching it. And yeah, man, I was just ecstatic. I'm with you. It's Christmas morning. It's like the draft. It's Christmas. Like, what are we going to see? I'm excited to see the starting offense. I'm excited to see the rookies. I'm excited to see our coach, how he is going to react, how he calls plays or how he reacts to boneheaded plays and boneheaded penalties, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I was ecstatic before the game. Sammy, what were your feelings? Because like you say, there's no high expectation for this team this season. Obviously, Miami, their backups, especially backup quarterbacks, duds. But what were your feelings before this game, my man?
I'll be honest. This is the least excited I've been in a while for a preseason game. Just for me, just for the fact that again, the expectations are low. So you're coming to the game with some kind of patience and a little bit less of hope. But I'll tell you what, I know it was only one series. We're going to talk about it more later. But that team reminded me so much of the 1996 Dolphins with that start that it made me reconsider a couple of things. So. It's good to see, those young guys, playing well at the beginning. We're going to talk about it so much later, but, my perspective changed as soon as the game started. So from the bat, pleasantly surprised, very happy about, the start of the game. So my expectation was pretty low, but after that, I think we might be onto something here. So I'm really excited about it. We're going to have to talk about all season long. Even if we lost, I think we're going to have a lot to talk about. And that gets me excited.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? Daniel, sorry you didn't get to see the game.
A lot of people were complaining on X on how they couldn't access the game.
With I got it. I did I got NFL Plus, so I did that for the month to watch the preseason games.
I recommend DAZN for anyone who wants DAZN. Usually, if you're an initial member and you haven't been on, they'll give you like a promotion, especially at the beginning. So DAZN is something that's also pretty popular if you guys want. But I watch in Canada.
Yeah, and I will say again, don't let the score kind of fool you. Again, let's just start very quickly though. But just the game itself, right? I mean, it's a preseason game. This is where it's finally live game action. A lot of these players are having opportunities they never had before. How are they going to react? We hear a lot of good things about players during training camp, and when they get into a game, they're not that guy. They've totally disappeared. I'm going to tell you, again, the best first impression. Start off right now. At least the offense in general, first of all. But Caleb Douglas. This is a kid who, again, when he was drafted, how many groans and moans did we hear when he got picked? Kind of like Cam Smith, right? When he got picked, we were like, who? Caleb Douglas is a guy I like, but not in the pick that he got picked. It was a little later, not 7th round like some people were saying, but later. But he had everything you want, size and speed. But then you hear in training camp, this kid's making noise. He's the most consistent offensive player. He's making, So that was somebody I was very excited to see on the field. And he was a starting receiver. He was at the top of your screen if you were watching the Washington game. I know about Miami. I was on the Washington side of it here, watching it from NFL Plus. But I'm going to tell you, man, he found a way to stay open. He would have had 2 big catches had he kept the first one in bounds, which was a rookie thing. He should have knew where his feet were. He knew he made it. But he made up for it because he made a big one-handed catch and was penalized. He made a big one-handed catch to secure it. It was only actual catch of the game, but enough to go, there's something here with this kid. He had the best first impression. I'm going to give it to one best first impression for me, Caleb Douglas, awesome to see. FinStanza, who gave you that best first impression? It could be the same guy, but if there anybody different, best first impression.
Well, as we all like to say, it all starts with the quarterback, and the quarterback had the biggest expectations heading into this game, whether it's regular season or preseason. And in the words of my son Zach, wait, the quarterback knows how to slide? Like right away when he did that, like I didn't even tell my kid. Like he's watching the game going, oh, the quarterback, he knows how to slide. That's wonderful. But like getting out of the pocket, the arm strength, the presence, it was just the command of that offense, just even on the first drive and utilizing we got to see him get outside the pocket. We got to see him use his arm. We got to see him run. We got to see all the little elements of what you're going to look forward to from Malik Willis. And that was my best and first impression, because now you know whether the team is good on paper or not. There's a guy there who is able, with the first team offense that was there, was able to take the ball from the 10-11 from behind the 10-yard line and drive down the field. So he wasn't afraid of that. He wasn't trying to force anything. He found the security blanket in his first two plays, which I think was smart, in getting comfortable in Malik Washington. Like I feel like one thing we learned today overall, and we're going to talk about it, but like we now know typically who the 1-2 punches at wide receiver. And I think I know who the third is going to be and who the 4-5s are going to be. And who's really doesn't have a chance to make this roster, which we'll talk about later in the show. But no, the best first impression for me was Malik Willis, only because he basically did what he had to in the first drive. And basically you don't need to see him again if you don't want to, because he did his job. He didn't leave anything there that was uninteresting. You got to see him run. You got to see him get outside the pocket. You got to see him throw. And he was quick. And by the way, you notice how quick he gets to the line of scrimmage? That was also very important. How many times have you, Sammy, and myself talked on pregame shows and postgame shows how it's 5, 4, 3, 2, right? Like there it was moving. The offense was moving. Like Bobby Sloak was moving the offense with Malik Willis, which was really nice to see.
Sammy, best first impression for today's game.
Best first impression, Malik Willis. You know, the arm strength, you can see it. You can see it live. That arm strength is probably because we're accustomed to the weaker arm quarterbacks.
Noodle arm?
Yeah, noodle arm. So that arm, that was amazing. The speed, the I think that, we might be onto something over here, because that the physical tools are there.
Yeah.
If Malik Willis was 24, 23 and was coming out of the draft, he will be the number one pick in the draft. By far. He's a first-year starter. He's not a rookie, but he's a first-year starter. We had to consider that. So I was really pleasantly surprised about the fact that, I think the physical tools are there. And that arm strength, the poise, he got one. It should have been 5 for 5, if you ask me, because that throw that was out of bounds from Douglas was just silly. He should have been in bounds. So he should have been 5 for 5. So I'm personally surprised. I'm actually very surprised the way they use H-in tonight. For a preseason thing, he took a pounding. He was getting hit after hit with those runs. I started to get kind of worried. So, and first impressions, the secondary, that's gonna be the Achilles heel of this team. That out of position, weak in the middle. The cornerbacks, even Chris Johnson, look iffy at times. It's gonna be hard to stop teams if you cannot patch covers. I think that Hafley was being creative about putting pressure with the defense, getting blitzes and stuff. But that secondary is a secondary of 3-14 team when you see it. I'm really worried about what we're gonna have to endure this season with that kind of defense.
And I'll say too, again, in regards of the secondary, which obviously we expected, right? I mean, in regards to first impression, we kind of I don't think it's much of a shock. You would hope to be surprised, but when you have first-year players and second-year players and journeymen back there, it's not going to fix itself. You got to hope. Again, it is preseason game 1, but you want to hope that your coach, who is a defensive guy, could try to figure out at least to make them adequate. But today's game, from the starters, were not impressive to start. I wasn't not like the first string offense. The offense, again, talk about first impressions. The starting offense looked really good. Best first impression, offensive line, right? That's another one we could have said. The offensive line, the starters, Savanea, even Jackson, and those guys, they looked good. They did well. But bad first impression was the defense. I wasn't impressed with the defense, really. Maybe there was like one play, but I can't really tell you anything that stood out to me on defense. Evan, you probably let me know if I'm wrong or not. But
Max, the play with Max Llewellyn and was it? I don't know if it was Cooper. I can't remember who it was when they got the sack. But then I liked Jordan Phillips in the middle. Can I just tell you? Even on television, that guy's ginormous.
Oh, he's a monster.
Oh, my God. Caden Proctor and Patrick Paul on that left side, I think they blocked my TV screen. But no, on the defensive side of the ball, I want to just retract a little bit about the fact how bad the defense is. They knew who they weren't playing tonight. So Chris Johnson was sort of there because he's a rookie. But
Okay.
Judy Brent is still out there. He hasn't played yet. Dante Trader was not there tonight. They are still key members, and I can still see the team. People are going to be cut, and I do believe that John Eric Sullivan will wait and grab. Tre'Davious White's still out there. There are still people looking for contracts. Jimmy Ward's out there. There are people who are still out. Marshawn Lattimore, I know they made a lot of money, but they might, if they want to play football this year, they're going to go get maybe other veterans. Like, he's not done signing players. So for me, yes, is it going to be a weakness? Sure, but so what? If we look back at 2019 and how bad that yes, they had X, but like even back then, that defense was not very strong. You can't name a lot of players on that team back in 2019. The front, I think, will be good. The middle, I think, will be good. Yes, the secondary is going to be weak, but once you put Chris Johnson in nickel, if Storm Duck is healthy, if Juju Brent is able to get back, if Dante Trader is there, I do believe that they're going to find a way to piece it together. But I don't believe that that's the core. I believe that if you are able to establish at the line of scrimmage and set the edge, I believe that they're going to be able to compensate for the weakness in the secondary. And every time we've criticized the secondary, we criticized the secondary last year. They went to get Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas, what? Rasul Douglas is a has-been. They will find a way, whether it's with Juju Brent or something. I'm not willing to throw the defense under the bus after one preseason game. The same way I'm not willing to give the offense all its flowers after one game. Because when we signed Tutu Atwell, and we signed Jalen Tolbert, and we signed all that, Tutu Atwell was used in the third and fourth quarter today. He wasn't considered an important person. They considered Caleb Douglas and Malik Washington their 1-2. And I believe that when Chris Bell gets here, Jalen Tolbert is going to be your 4, Tutu Atwell is going to be your 5. I believe Taj Washington is going to be on the practice squad and won't be on this team. So the one place I will say bad first impression for me personally, where they were non-existent in the game in terms of utilization, was the tight ends. The tight ends are not there. Like in terms of like usage, like they didn't find a way to get Greg Dulcich into the game. You may have heard his name, but that's about it. But overall, I'm not worried about the defense in the sense that it's too early to tell. I feel like the defense, every year, the Dolphins, whether it was with the previous regime or our regime, have been able to get a veteran to come in the secondary to band-aid the solution. And yes, it's not the long-term solution, but there's always going to be a veteran cornerback out there that you can go get that can cover on one side. You'll have the Storm Ducks and the Juju Brents on the other side, and you can piecemeal it. I'm not as worried and concerned as other people. Honestly, I'm not. It was the least of my worries tonight. Like, I didn't care. I knew that they were going to be weak on defense in this particular game because we know the depth overall on this team is pretty bad, whether it's at the offensive line. The only place where we have decent depth is at the linebacker position or maybe at the nose tackle position. We don't have depth at the wide receiver position. We don't have depth. We have a little bit of depth at the running back position, but we learned about a little bit of the immaturity. I wasn't too impressed by our second and third running backs tonight in Gordon and Wright. So overall, For me, it involves coaching. It involves development. What we got to see is that our good players that did play today, the good players that we expected to be good, were good. I don't think there's one player that we said that is a good, important player to this football team that played football tonight was mediocre. Jordan Phillips did his job. Malik Willis did his job. Javon Achon did his job. Patrick Paul, Caden Proctor, Jonas Samanaya, Austin Jackson, Aaron Brewer. Can I just tell you something? When we got Aaron Brewer and people said he's too small to play center, in the run scheme, Aaron Brewer, we got him for nothing. When you think about Tyler Lindenbaum making $27 million and we have Aaron Brewer for half of that, Aaron Brewer is a stud in that center position. He is phenomenal. He is the captain of that offensive line, and he is phenomenal at that position. I will tell you that.
Sammy, bad first impression for you. Is there a guy that you went, ooh, that's not what I want to see?
Boy. So many, you know, pick anyone in the secondary. So pick anyone in the secondary. You know, Tutu Atwell. I'll tell you what, that's a huge disappointment for me because I know he wasn't a Pro Bowler. You know, that's the reason why the Rams move on from that. But he's a playmaker. For me, he was a playmaker. And when you have a team that's not expected to be very good, you usually want playmakers, guys. You know that will have that play in the game that might change the tide, and you get some momentum. So I saw Tutu as kind of a playmaker. So for me, I don't know. He's falling. I don't know if he survives a couple of next weeks. I think they're gonna probably give him an opportunity to see if someone else gets him over. So Tutu, you know, I know they're thinking of wide receiver, but Tutu has been a disappointment. Anyone in the secondary has been a disappointment. I don't know. And the backup quarterbacks, you know, I have no idea if Quinn Ewers is really playing this bad, or the wide receivers are not supposed to be are not what they're supposed to be. Because I'm shocked and amazed at how bad Quinn Ewers was tonight.
Yeah,
I'm really, really shocked. So I don't know. One thing is, you know, he's playing bad, or he's right now not where he's supposed to be mentally, or the wide receivers are so bad that underperforming, you know, and they're not doing the job they're supposed to do. But I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see in the press conference how Coach Hafley addresses that, but Quinn Ewers, someone else was really disappointed every time.
I'm surprised as well with Quinn Ewers. The QB 2-3 position is it's a problem, right? And Evan could talk about his hat and after I say this, but the QB the backup position's a problem. And you know, again, Quinn Ewers. After last season, even after they signed Malik, I mean, you would think, let me show them that they're wrong. Let me prove to them that I should be the guy, or they made a mistake going after Malik. He hasn't showed that in camp. We've heard about him struggling in camp, and you would say maybe when the lights turn on and it's game day, maybe he shows up. He did not show up. I mean, that interception that he thrown had nothing to do with wide receivers. Had everything to do with Quinn Ewers. That was a Tua-like bomb in the air. It was a floater right into the breadbasket of the secondary of Washington. It was disgusting. And everything else about his play was disgusting. Him and Cam Miller combined was 4 of 19, 66 total passing yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble that was recovered, and a passer rating of 1.97. Cam Miller threw 2 picks. I understand it's game 1. I understand both guys are very young, but you can't play like that, because I do not believe, no matter how shitty sucky the secondary is or whatever, I don't believe that Miami is like, oh, we're planning on losing. Well, if you're not really planning on losing and you really want to try to win, if Malik Willis gets hurt, you're in for a whole lot of pain if one of these two guys are coming in as your starting quarterback. So I'm going to be very interested to see what Miami does in the next few weeks if game 2 comes on a preseason and these guys continue to play as they did tonight. Tutu Atwell, I like you brought him up because I was watching him and I was watching Malik Washington. I thought about our friend Munraj, who watches Fins Talk Today, who's been in the comments lately the past couple of weeks. Shout out to Munraj if he's watching or if he does watch later. But, he's asked a couple weeks now or a couple shows now about should Miami bench Malik Washington in favor of Tutu Atwell because Malik didn't play well last year. And I was like, Malik just needs an opportunity. He's been building chemistry with Malik Willis, reportedly. Well, point in order, Malik Washington had 3 catches. I mean, you could see that the chemistry he's built with Malik Willis has been as advertised, where Tutu Atwell was nowhere to be seen. So just something else to point out there. Evan, your point about the quarterbacks in your hat.
Oh, the reason I'm wearing these hats is everyone, Bass Pro, all the years I've been driving by a Bass Pro, I go, what was I missing? And then I walk in and I can't wait to go back there every day. But we got to go fishing for a quarterback. The problem is that when you go fishing, sometimes there's no one out there. And we have to wait for someone to get cut because that free agent market, unless you want to convince Taysom Hill to come here at 36 years old or pay Jimmy G, honestly, this is why you go fishing for a quarterback every single draft.
Yep.
Because you have nothing to lose. And Steve Malloy must have been watching Fins TV because what did I say a couple days ago is that Quinn Ewers read too much of his own stuff, read too much about what the fans were saying when they benched Tua, and too much of his own press, and he is faltering. And it's because he was a 7th-round pick who didn't do, in the end, left college because he didn't want to compete with Arch Manning, and was a 7th-round pick and adapted to a scheme that now he's having trouble getting out of, and he literally looked lost. He looked lost. And yes, the wide receivers today at one point looked like donut holes, that everything was going through them until AJ Henning caught a ball. Every single one of them, I can't even name you their names. Literally, I think they all got cut every time they dropped the football. Like I said, Taj Washington is goodbye. But no, that's the thing at the quarterback position right now. The quarterback position is weak, but at the same time, so what? If they go get someone, great. But at the same time, people expect the Dolphins to be poor. Malik Willis is the only way you're going to be strong. Most teams don't, in most cases, a backup quarterback is not going to save your season in most cases. The only way they can save you, is if your team in front of you is a playoff team and a perennial contender. So if you have a staunch offensive line, a staunch defense, a very good secondary, a good wide receiver core, and a power back who can get you 100 plus yards a game, like a Jonathan Taylor or something like that, you're not going to win anyways. So people think that we were going to win 3 or 4 games anyways with Malik. Now you think that if Malik is good, the team starts off well and beyond expectations, that a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo or a quarterback like if Kirk Cousins wanted to come here or you wanted to go get it, it's not going to change anything. There's a reason why there aren't 32 starting quarterbacks in this league. Now you want to go get a backup quarterback to help save your season. Everyone has to stop being negative. We already, like I told everybody before the season started, I told you guys in January, I told you guys in November, I told you guys in as long as a couple of things happen, the Curly, Larry, and Moe, as long as they were not part of this franchise in 2026, 2027, it's a win for the season. They've already won this season. They have a general manager who's doing the right thing. They have a head coach who looks like a head coach, because you don't have it in studs and duds, but I'd like to bring it up now, and then we can segue into it, and I'd like to get Sammy in your opinion. The moment Jeff Hafley convinced me that he was the head coach of this football team was the moment Ollie Gordon was walking to the sideline. And you saw a coach who is the defensive coordinator at the same time have the presence of mind on live television with the world watching, and he didn't care that the world was watching, to go have a conversation with this guy for about 30 seconds to remind him it's not about you, it's about the team. That's a football coach. He proved right there and then that we have somebody on the sideline who is engage with the other coaches. You notice, Bobby and Sammy, how many times he was engaging with Austin Clark or Chris Tabor or somebody. He was talking on both sides of the ball. It was such a pleasure to watch him engage on the sideline, see what was going on, looking at he was moving around. There was something going on there. There was an enthusiasm, whether it was you saw Jordan Brooks, or you saw Zach Sealer, or you saw Devon Achane, or you saw Jacob Rodriguez, you saw or Kaden Proctor or Aaron Brewer. They were all engaging with the coach. They weren't in their iPad. He wasn't in his iPad. He wasn't focused just on the defense. He wasn't getting frustrated. And when he hit a touchdown, do you happen to notice when they scored the touchdown, it was this. It wasn't like the world was on fire. We're about to win the Super Bowl. You go about your business and you move on. So for me, the foundational structure of this team tonight, I'm not as concerned as everybody else because it's the preseason. And I saw what I want to see tonight. I saw a quarterback who knew what he was doing. We saw that we have the Devon Achane is him. Okay. You're never going to hear me. I'm no more trolling. I have stopped trolling last season, but no more trolling. You see the wall that is that offensive line if they're healthy. Because I don't know if you saw this. Jonas Savaniah looked like he was basically, Bobby, he looked like you and me if we were to fly to Europe right now and try to fly to London right now, get in the car and start driving. It would take us a little while when you're driving on the wrong side of the road. So when you're playing the wrong position, now that he's on the right side of the road, he's completely different. He's a completely different lineman. Mm-hmm. And so for me, everything I wanted to see, whether it was Jordan Phillips or anything like that, like the only thing I was a little disappointed on, and I will be honest, I would have preferred. I didn't think Kenneth Grant deserved the treatment that he doesn't need to practice, that he doesn't need to play the preseason of the first game. Like I didn't really think because he's a first round pick. Like that was my only little bit of a disappointment that Jordan Phillips is going to play. Like why isn't he? Maybe they'll save him for the second, but that's someone I would have liked to have seen because he's had not the best training camp from what people are talking about. But overall, I'm content with today's game. I wasn't looking for victories. I was looking to see what individual players were going to do. And like right away, Jacob Rodriguez. Can we just talk about how quickly that man gets to the ball? Like he deflected a ball in the second play. Like the guy is a poor guy. How many games will we go over under where they praise his wife over him every single game? Like, over under the amount of times they talk about how his wife is an Air Force Black Hawk helicopter pilot who platoons 20 people as a female, and this guy's just here to play football. Like that's good for him, good for her, amazing. But like the football game, like poor guy, like he's gonna be won up by his wife every single football game.
I think he's okay with that. It's why
I know I should be okay with him. I'm just saying that it shouldn't have to come up on every episode.
No, I know.
But overall, every single time you're all right with that. Every single show they do the same thing.
Every single.
I see your point. I don't think it's bothering, and I think it's really.
Oh,
cool.
it shouldn't bother him. I'm saying it's just.
I think also it's very cool, but hopefully by November, then let's do the same thing because
First off, let's get into studs and duds. But before we do, I want to talk about Coach Hafley. And again, this is the first game. I Doll's not wrong. I saw the comments. I was watching the comments at first, but then I'm doing a bunch of other things. So now I have the big screen and I'm focused on the guys and letting the guys go. But I saw FinStanza laughing and doing his stick show. I said, let me go see what they're saying in there. And Adrian, thank God kids don't see the comments. And I see Adrian Doll, that's why, again, unapologetically authentic as she is, doesn't matter if it's preseason, doesn't matter if everybody expects Miami to lose, she wants them to win. So she's 100% burning the whole thing down already. And she called you out basically, or proved you right. You're like, I bet no one could name those corners. She lists every single one, quick Google search and she found it. No, I'm just kidding. She probably knew who they were. But shout out to everybody in the comments. I appreciate you. Love you guys. Joining us at late hours, 10:58 p.m. Eastern time, Dolphins football. First game of the preseason in the books. And again, a lot to talk about, what you love, what you dislike. I mean, so much so the kids are talking in the background and, it's all good, But talking about Coach Hafley, what Evan brought up, I just want to talk about that because that's something we both right away, as soon as he started talking about it, I was like, yes, it's the first thing I noticed, and when Ollie Gordon got caught up and then had that boneheaded penalty, and it is what it is. You can't let tempers fly. But in the old regime, that would have been overlooked. He would have stayed there with his playbook, our former coach. He would have been like this, with his big sunglasses on, and would never said a word. Never would have said a word. What did this coach do? This defensive coach. What did the defensive coach do? Was he sitting down with the defense? Was he trying to figure that out as the offense? No. What did he do? He walked right up to his young running back, put his both hands on his shoulders, did not let him walk past, and you could tell he was telling him, you need to keep your head in the game. You need to be cool-headed. That's a head coach. That's what Miami's been missing. A real head football coach. Whether that means wins or wins down the line, whatever, that's what we've been asking for, and that's what we've been needing. We talk about Devon Aitchen, who, my goodness, it's preseason. You don't have to do that hard. We know you. We're okay. This guy went for 7 of 39 with a touchdown, cut through. The offensive line was stellar. The starting offensive line, it was gorgeous. I think of that GIF when he goes, perfect, absolutely. Homelander, perfect. It was perfect. It was beautiful. Savanea, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been talking about. It's great. It's good. As healthy. Evan's not wrong. When there's no help, that may be the issue there, and that's when the depth problem comes in the thing. But 739 for a touchdown made it look easy. Ollie Gordon, minus the touchdown, matched it. Played for 7 of 39, 5.6 yards per carry. The same as Devon Aitchen. The same as Devon Aitchen was Ollie Gordon's numbers. You saw the talent. You saw the cuts, but also the help of the offensive line came in after. But what's the difference between him and Ollie? For him and Devon Aitchen, obviously levels, right? But also that mental block right there. You cannot do that. That kills a drive. That kills a thing. And your defensive head coach went up to his second-year running back and said, what the hell are you doing? That to me, talk about best first impression. I know a lot of people say, oh, coach having to be held accountable for what the defense played. Sure, yes, he's a defensive coach. He has all season to show development within that defense. No matter what your expectations are, there's no real expectations about this team. We knew that defense is going to struggle. But now it's about, can we see that defense get better with the talent that they have or don't have? How do they develop? Does he make the right adjustments during the season? Let me take this guy out, put this guy in. Then you can start really talking about what he does on defense as a defensive coach when it's supposed to be a specialty. But if you're talking about as a head coach, getting in your players' faces, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, that's what you want. A head coach, not a defensive head coach who's calling defensive plays, only focused on defense, lets his offensive coordinator do everything. No, a guy who's focused on the game. On the game. So for me, as Evan said right there, I agree with him. That told me enough saying, we got the right guy right now. I feel totally comfortable with him right now. From that one moment alone. For those overreacting for the first preseason game, it's preseason game 1. But let's be honest here. There are no expectations to really win this year. You shouldn't have expectations. It's about development.
I'm sorry.
Development. It's okay.
By the way,
I'm not looking
anyone.
Yeah, that comment got me. I'm sorry.
By the way, I have an idea for Sammy. By the way, I do have an idea for Sammy as a side note, since they wrote up early that Sammy always said, as long as we got each other, we could easily come up with a show called Growing Pains, and you could take the theme song from Growing Pains, Show Me That Smile, as long as we've got each other. So, Sammy, you have to do something off of the show Growing Pains, because you said we always have each other. You could do something fun with that. And wouldn't that be a perfect show for the Dolphins this year? Growing Pains? That's what it is. It's going to be Growing Pains.
Absolutely.
Right, Bobby?
But
if I may,
don't you love that theme song? As long as we got each other.
As long as we got each other. No, but listen. I'm sorry. I took a look at the comments. I pressed the wrong button. But listen, again, that right there is enough. No more of that fake. And Duke is not wrong, right? There was a lot of guys. They saw the nerdy IT picture of McDaniel with the curly hair and the big glasses. I want that coach. He looks cool. He talks fun. But during the game, when there's the defense on the field, he's looking like this, talking with Tua, making out in the sidelines. When Tua throws 4 interceptions. Now we have a coach, a defensive coach, who's talking to his backup running back, his third running back on the roster, probably got to the second spot after this game, but comes to his second running back. He could have let his running back coach take care of it. No, he went to the guy and said, "What the hell are you doing?" That's a football coach. That's what we've been missing. Does it equal wins? I don't know. But it's about goddamn time that we got one. A guy with balls. 98%. 99.9% Adrian. Anyway, Tati knows too because I showed her. But let's get up to Fins Up studs. Let's talk about the studs. Adrian, I'll have to send you Sammy and Evan, But
no problem.
So you're in on the joke, and I sent it to Alex because he'll get it. But anyway, Fins Up studs. Let's get 3 studs down. Sammy, you've been quiet, laughing at the comments. I'm going to put you up on the burner first. Who are your 3 Fins Up studs of this game?
Again, Malik Willis. I wanted to start with Malik Willis again, just because of the fact when I see Malik, I say, if I'm John Eric Sullivan and I'm seeing Malik right now, and he's exceeding expectations in so many levels, I say, man, I gotta give him some help. It will be so sad for him to waste this season because of the fact that the receivers are not up to par. I know it's hard to find a receiver right now. I know they might have to get creative. I understand that investing into the pool of draft picks in the future is not the way to go, but it's really frustrating because Malik Willis deserves better. If he had a better tight end, a better wide receiver, number 2, number 1, or whatever, he will be measured how he deserves to be measured this season. He deserves to be measured at his best, because if he gets hurt, the season's done. If the wide receivers fails, he's not gonna be evaluated fairly, and by the end of the year, the Dolphins might be taking a quarterback. It's not gonna be his fault. It's not gonna be his fault. So it's really frustrating for me to see that. It's really sad for me. What's this?
No okay. Excuses. Don't make excuses.
It's not. No. You should be smart enough. You should be smart enough to know that I know you're just ribbing me because you're smart enough to see that I'm not making excuses. This season is not about excuses. The excuses are not even on the table right now because we already know where we are. But I'm saying Malik Willis, and I'm the one who said before that Malik Willis has no excuses because what did I say, Bobby? No. If Tua was graded because he was not good enough to lead this team through adversity, I want to see the same for Malik. So I'm on record saying that, there's no excuses for Malik. He has to perform. He has to do what he got. He has to overcome it. But it's really frustrating on the other side to see that he doesn't have enough talent to be evaluated fairly. Because I see the arm strength, I see the speed, I see the decision making. I think we might have something here. But he's, if this team is within reach of the number 1 pick, do you think that they're gonna trade down, or they're gonna go to take a quarterback? They're gonna go take a quarterback. So it's really unfair for Malik. He's right now. I think he's in a back position. We'll have to wait and see. So my first Fins Up stud is Malik. Basically, the offensive line, I think they did a very good job considering the holes that the Devon Nation got, and the Devon Nation was really amazing again. Yeah, he took a pounding and he kept bringing it. At times there was a time that one of the commanders, the commies guys, throw a form at him and give him the shoulder. I'm like, you son of a, So I was really, really worried about that. I think Asian, it's the first series, but I was really worried at times that when you have preseason games, there are guys that really want to impress at home. When you're the visiting team, you're at risk because those good guys are gonna come at you, like they're the shits. And the injury risk is bigger, so that's why so many freak injuries happen during the preseason. So I wanted to see Malik out of there quickly. I want to see AJ out of there quickly. Luckily, they happen. So for me, the offensive line, Malik, and Devon AJ, I think they were awesome tonight.
I love it. I want to address that with the Malik thing right quick, but before that, Duke's comment. Duke says, Bobby, don't you think coach should have addressed our secondary better this year? Being a defensive coach, we have the worst secondary in the NFL. Again, coach is not in charge of addressing the roster or filling out the roster. Those days are done between 2 guys with the hands in the pot. It's up to John Eric Sullivan. And I will say again, he drafted Chris Johnson with the first pick. He drafted Michael Taffe from Texas. Kyle Lewis, the linebacker, he has him out in safety. And what DSG said, right? They addressed as much as they could, but the Dolphins have way too many holes, right? So, this is not going to be a 1-year project. Let's be honest. Let's be real with ourselves here. This is not a 1-year deal where everything's going to work out and everything's going to make sense because, should we have gone defense with the first pick with our draft because we have a defensive coach? No, they went offensive line because offensive line is an issue. Then they went secondary with their second first-round pick. So they did, and they signed a lot of players. They didn't sign key guys because they don't have a lot of money. They signed players, and they're going to let them battle it out. And what they have is what they have, unless they go out and get something. I will say, Sammy is on point, and not at the same time. I'll say why. In regards of offensive talent, right, especially with the starting part, with the chemistry he has with Malik Washington that you saw early on in this game with 3 straight catches, and then obviously what we saw with Caleb Douglas. We don't know what the tight end room is yet because we have to see as the preseason goes along to really say, is that going to be an issue this season? But we saw early that in this game, we saw Malik Willis, at least on that first drive, what we saw in Green Bay, extending plays with his legs, getting it in the breadbasket of his receivers where they needed to get it and catch it. Like he was making you saw the difference between him and the second and third quarterback. There was no discussion mid-game or third after this game. We're going, man, Kuen Weir's, man, can he really have an opportunity to? No, because you know who the starting guy is. But you also saw what we didn't have last year. And again, it is what it is. Tua's health issues, losing weight, gaining weight, whatever. You saw the difference between having a quarterback like Tua and a quarterback like Malik. The arm strength, but also the way he could extend plays with his legs. I think wasting a year is not wrong because the wasting the year part, I think, falls on what the defense is going to look like. But again, Malik Willis knew this when he signed with the Miami Dolphins. He could have signed anywhere else for equal or probably more money, but he decided to come to the Miami Dolphins because he believes in what Coach Hafley and John Eric Sullivan are selling down here. He understands the process because if they told him, they told him ahead of time, more than likely we're moving Waddle. He knew what was going to happen. He accepted that because he's willing to grow here, but also play up to par. And what he did in the first drive in preseason says enough about what type of quarterback or what type of player this guy is. So you're right on with wasting a year, and it's kind of a shame, but I think that falls more on the defensive talent more and the depth more than it does the receivers. Because again, it's just what the team is right now. You can't fix everything overnight. My studs for this game, Bobby, I'm not buying in. I'm not selling my stock either. It's just 100% right on. Right on. Tati says it's just preseason. Yeah, but these are fans who have been burned over and over again. So yeah, if they see something wrong, it's going to be magnified because the team has sucked for years. There you go, Tati. I think we're being over optimistic. We don't draft one of when we don't draft one of the star quarterbacks in round 1 or round 2 and 27. Don't complain. We stuck for Malik with 3 years. No, we're not stuck with Malik for 3 years. It's a 2-year deal. They cut Tua after he just signed a deal for 90-some-odd million with the biggest dead cap hit. They cut Tyreek and took a hit because they wanted to move on. They traded Jalen Waddle. They traded Minka Fitzpatrick because they don't fit the system. I don't think Malik is going to get cut anytime soon because he's the type of player they want on their team to be in that quarterback room, whether he's QB 1 or 2. Duke, respectfully, I would say go back and do some research on Green Bay. Go see what they've done when they have a quarterback or whoever on their roster. When they had a few years left on Brett Favre's deal, they drafted Aaron Rodgers. When they had a few years left on Aaron Rodgers' deal, 2 guys in their primes, what did they do? He drafted Jordan Love. So no one's going to complain. No one's going to complain because it makes sense. The team is where it is. It wasn't going to fix itself. This is not Madden. Let's stop pretending everything was going to fix overnight. But let's also not pretend after seeing what John Eric Sullivan and John Eric Sullivan had done in the offseason, cutting all the dead weight with heavy deals still left under deal, that he wouldn't make the necessary changes if Malik Willis can't perform or guys can't do their job. Anyway, studs. Malik Willis. It's just preseason game 1. And only one drive. But he made the plays with his legs when he had to do it. He got the ball where it needed to be. 97%. He looked like a starting quarterback. He looked better than the guy who he replaced. Sammy, you didn't see what happened in Atlanta? After the show, go see what happened in Atlanta tonight. Tua looked like Tua. Not the good kind.
Yeah.
Connor Williams, everybody told me every time he fumbled the damn snap, it was Connor Williams' fault. There's no Connor Williams in Atlanta. Anyway, Malik Willis is a stud for week 1 of preseason for me. Caleb Douglas. He was at 2 attempts, but they were big time 2 attempts, 1 catch in that game. The time he didn't even was attempted, though, you saw the speed, you saw the physicality. He got open. It could have been a big catch on the sideline, but he made a rookie mistake and kept 1 foot out of bounds. He made up for it on the very next play. Made a catch as he's getting pulled down. One-handed catch secures the catch. Big 28-yard play. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm good. You are what so far has been advertised. We'll see you in week 2. But my goodness, I cannot wait. Sammy bringing up about receiver and talent at receiver. If Caleb Douglas is doing that, and we'll see how it continues, but he's been doing this in training camp. Now he did it during a game in a play where he could easily have dropped it. It made sense because he was being penalized. It would have been a pass interference, and he would have made it would have been a first down area. Nobody would have thought about it. But he still, as he's being pulled down, makes a one-handed catch. That tells you the heart and the effort this kid puts into it. Now imagine a few weeks down the line, mid-season, whenever that may be, Chris Bell comes in. Now think about that 1-2 punch, because I know what I believe with Chris Bell. So Caleb Douglas for me is a stud. And then the offensive line. At least the initial start of the offensive line. I think Andrew Meyer did really well for himself too in the second unit, third unit, whatever. But that starting offensive line, Evan, Sammy, I was very impressed with it. I was looking at 7A. I was watching Austin Jackson even. Caden Proctor, the rookie, freaking monster truck. I mean, they have a picture online. It's like the Mona Lisa to me. It's a beautiful pocket for Malik Willis. It's like I want to frame it and put it on my wall. I want to take down the picture of my family right here and put that on my wall. That beautiful
time he had when he was throwing. At one point, he had like 12 seconds to throw the ball.
Ridiculous. And I think it's fair, though. I would say Devon Aitchen, but Devon Aitchen is Devon Aitchen. I know him. I got 2. I love the guy. You all know it. I've gone crazy for him. Of course. Duds, the backup quarterback position. I had Quinn Ewers at first because, I didn't see Cam Miller at first. But QB 2, 3, whatever you want to call it, that's a big-ass stud. And then the defense. I will say, though, you brought this up earlier, and you're not wrong. One guy that really stood out, of course, Jacob Rodriguez, that one thing, and then when he came out, but also Jordan Phillips had a monster stop as well. He just collapsed the whole line. So, but other than that, the defense was not impressive to me. Those are my duds. Evan, I think you said studs, right?
No, I haven't done anything yet.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit different because I want to give everyone their little bit of flowers. So on the offensive side, the one person that we should still talk about is Malik Washington, because to make Malik Willis feel comfortable, we could already see who his security blanket is. If you remember back in 2019, when Tua's first year, his security blanket was Jalen Waddle. You could easily tell that the wide receiver one on this team right now, even Caleb Douglas, for a 6th-round pick, Malik Washington is doing his job. And he did his job on first 2 plays, quick little outs for Malik Willis to make him feel comfortable inside the pocket and get out of the pocket. It looked great. On the defensive side of the ball, I want to give credit to a guy who's a veteran who literally, if you remember the play, Bobby, how he chased down the quarterback, Willie Gay. Willie Gay is still playing for something. The guy is still a veteran who is going to be an important part of this defense, I was impressed. The one person who I did follow throughout the game, because I did watch every play, and you followed him, you're a draft guy, and I remember you mentioned him when we did sign him as an undrafted rookie out of Wisconsin, was Mason Rieger. Yep. Mason Rieger had a sack, he had a tackle for a loss, he had multiple tackles in the game, and he made do where he said to himself, I'm going to make this 53. So I was impressed by him as well. One coach I was very impressed with outside of, because you could see it on the feed, was Chris Tabor. The game hadn't even started yet, and he was already yelling at his team where to line up at the kickoff. Like, remember when we first signed him and the way he was? Like, he's a gruff veteran. Like, that's what I like, the fact that they brought in a veteran special teams guy, because we always used to like Darren Rizzo, that veteran guy. I like the fact that we have a veteran, because we always used to play that special teams coordinator. Now, I like the fact that we have a feisty, loud, like, boisterous guy. The biggest dud for me, honestly, was the broadcast. Like, the broadcast of Kid Bocamper and Mike Cunio and that group, with the way the feed was, with the zooming of the drone, and it was high, it was low, and there at one point I think I could see Andrew Myers the wart on his butt, because that's how close they went into that offensive line.
Jesus,
that was my biggest dud, was actually the broadcast. Sammy, you mentioned to me that it took a little bit of a snooze. Trust me, I understand why, because that broadcast on Miami was not the most entertaining broadcast in the world. But overall, in terms of overall duds, I don't have, because overall, it's a learning experience for me. Nothing tonight surprised me. So in terms of a negative way, because I knew that they would get Washington. Remember, Washington's in the third year of a rebuild. We're in our first. They were in the NFC Championship in Jaden Daniels' first year. They have Dan Quinn, who we would have been happy to be our head coach a couple of years ago, who's been to a Super Bowl, who's been a top defensive mind in the game. They have an experienced team. So their backups have been with the team for a while. So for me, I'm not going to poo-poo on anything tonight. The broadcast was my number one poo-poo. Everything else, I'm okay with. I didn't care about a win. I want to see how our coach. I want to see how our first line offense and because we didn't even have our first run defense. Wait, people are going to have less concerns about the defense on a game where you see Juju Brents on one side, Chris Johnson in the middle, Storm Duck on the other side. And then when you see on the field Jordan Brooks and Jacob Rodriguez and Zach Sealer and Kenneth Grant and Zeke Biggers and Jordan Phillips and that group on the field at the same time, you're going to have less complaints about the defense. I'm telling you, when Jordan Brooks gets on that field, do you think people are going to slouch? The corners are going to get away with much with Jordan Brooks on the field? Good luck to them. No. Jordan Brooks and Zach Sealer on the field, watch out the defensive players who don't give 150%. So I'm not worried. People, just have fun. It's football. I'm so happy it's back. Who cares if they lost? It's preseason.
I think that's I'll say too.
Debbie Downers.
I agree with you. It's preseason. It's preseason. Jesus. Chill. It's game one. Yes, I saw like 5 passes. It's like, okay. That's the one drive he had. We're gonna talk about the drive.
He had thrown an interception. It was 1 for 4. Everybody was saying, "No, he sucks."
Exactly. I told you. We're locked in for 3 years. No, it's 2 years with a way to get out before the third. It's what they do. It happens. But to each their own. But again, I think you're right on. I love the point you brought up about Mason Rieger. And again, that's what this is about, right? Those type of plays. That's what you're looking for in preseason. That's what how could you make yourself stand out? And he did that, right? I mean, that's something. By
the way, Keith Cooper, that guy's also ginormous. We have some girth on this football team. I don't care what anybody says. This team that Atlas plane. I don't know how that thing takes off, because that plane, that private jet, they got some girth. They got some big boys on this football team.
There's a girth. We got some girth.
Have you noticed? Like this team is ginormous on the lines. Ginormous. That run defense is going to be better.
But see, here's the thing.
Run defense is going to be good. That run defense is going to be good, by the way.
Yeah. first of all, yes, it's preseason, right? That's right. But also, no, we don't give a damn about, because again, no one has any expectations for this season. Like, if you have any expectations for this season, you're crazy. The thing I will be watching for though this season is their development, is their progress. Are players getting better? If players are regressing like they've done in years past, or if the team doesn't fix what they're doing, where's the beef?
Yeah. I
want
to respond to this.
Yes.
He looked unimpressed. Why wouldn't you want him to be?
What would you
like it? No. What would you like to prefer him to be? I didn't see the defensive play today. I was too busy fixing my glasses, tying my shoes, talking to my boyfriend. Like, what would you like me? Like, it's a little, yes. Remember, hey, I didn't say he was kissing him on the sideline like Bobby did 20 minutes ago. I just said he was talking to his boyfriend on the sideline. I'm back. All to say, guys, I mean, 97%. Was actually one thing I want to see, Bobby. If Jeff Hafley is not dejected by this, then he wasn't watching the game, because he wants his team to get better. He doesn't want the team to go 2-3-14. He wants to win every football game.
Absolutely.
So if he's dejected, that means he wants to work harder. That means he wants his team to play better. That means he's going to go look at the tape and say to Chris Johnson, you need to get that should have been an interception on that play in the red zone, in the end zone. You were just a little off. Or Ethan Bonner, you got to get there. Or the defensive player, I forget who it was. I think it was it Terrell? I can't remember. One of them. Or no, it was what's his name? Moore. Was it Moore? Yeah, it was. Who's that defensive guy we drafted? Where's his name? Is it Kyle? Where is he? Yeah. Which guy did we draft besides Kyle Lewis? Is it Moore? What's his name?
I know, but go ahead.
Trey Moore on the touchdown. On the first touchdown that they scored, wrapped the guy with one arm and couldn't get the other wrap. That's something they're going to look at the tape and say, you got to get lower on that. Like, so those kind of things. So that I want him to be annoyed. I want him to say, I was not impressed by some of the performances of my team, because that means he has more to work on. And that's how you want a coach to be. You don't want a coach to be praising his players every single game. You're only looking for the positive. You want to see where they can grow. So yeah, I want to see a coach who's annoyed because if he thinks if he comes out of today's game saying everything's all sunshine and rainbows, then we don't have the right coach. Even though it's only preseason, he played every guy. He played bottom guys who are on the 88th, 89th player on the team, and he wants to see if they deserve a roster spot. Some people do, some people don't.
Sammy, go ahead. I knew you wanted to say something.
Okay, I want to go back to what Deuce was saying, because I'm gonna try to understand where he's coming from. Okay, we were playing. We're a team, like we said so many times before. 38.6% of the cap available. That makes 62.4. Probably, that's not being used. On a normal team, the players that we saw tonight, that would be the second stringers. That will be the up and coming players that we're on the bench. We will have a solid bench, and the starters were there. The Tyreeks, the Waddles, the blah blah blah, Chop Robinson, the Chops, and you have Chop and Chop, and those guys that were so today starting, playing, performing, those guys would have been the backups. Those guys would have been the bench. When you're in the situation the Dolphins are right now, you have to play the bench. You have to play the young players. They're throwing to the fire. If you're gonna evaluate a preseason game by 4 quarters, you can't really be preoccupied about the fact that the Dolphins bench right now is mediocre.
Yes, probably worse than mediocre right now.
That's fair. That's fair. I get where you're coming from, dude. But that's worrisome. But you have to understand that basically that's the reality of this team. The fact that that this team is very, very thin, but you can appreciate the fact that young solid players are showing something today in the first preseason game. The Dolphins had a very good first series. That's the team that's going to start on offense. On defense, offense. Yes.
You
know what happened on defense? That's a completely different story.
Yeah.
But you have to be realistic at the fact that, this team, what we saw, the players we saw tonight playing, the stars, will be the bench players on any other Dolphins team that we're now rebuilding.
Mhm.
Oh, no. Yeah, I don't think you're at least you don't think you're too much.
No, but no, it's again, I think it's with Hafley though, and like that's the coach, and this is why Duke, again, it's only preseason. We haven't got the live thing yet. We have to see again adjustments and how he reacts during the season. But again, this is one of the reasons why, and you bring up about his press conference, why I'm impressed with him, right? It's preseason. You're not supposed to take it that serious, right? I mean, that's what people would think, but fans can, right? You are, right? But I mean, we had a coach for a couple seasons where even during the regular season, he still tried to be cute during the post game, right? Now we had a coach who, he could have came out and said, hey, look, you know what? It's preseason, it's game one, but our starting offense looked really damn good, and I'm impressed with that. Starting defense, we didn't have all our guys out there, blah, blah, blah. But secondary, no, but this is a guy who cares about winning. And we're going to see that this season. You're going to see to me, I think, and I mean, this is evidence to a preseason game. Like you said, he came out, he wasn't, he looked dejected, whatever. I haven't seen it. I'll look, but that just tells you the type of guy, the type of coach he is, the type of expectations the team has, that even after, your team, your secondary and your second and third units perform the way the Dolphins performed, the second and third quarterback performed the way they did. He's not going to come out all sunshine and rainbows, So, and again, it's just I understand your point now, because I saw your comments where you're like, you weren't talking about those type of reactions. You're talking about, how the team played poor, but again, we expect that, especially with the second and third unit, and even with defense, because of people talk about the roster and the pit. That's what I've been saying. I'm not have the hopium for the Dolphins because of this season, about expectations on the season. My hopium is about the future of this team because of the type of coach we got right now after you saw today, but also about what our general manager and his expectations are. And, we got a new guy running the ship at present with Dan Silman, and Troy Aikman's involved. But Miami right now, the secondary, I'm talking secondary, I mean the second and third unit, not the secondary too, but the depth is an issue with the Dolphins. The Dolphins know that. Coach Hafley knows that, but that doesn't mean he's not going to come out disappointed after the game and go, we could have done better. It doesn't matter if a guy is, the 28th, best safety in the NFL or worst safety in the NFL. He's going to expect better from them. It could be. And you're not wrong. You said this earlier. There are teams, right? Like the Houston Texans, who 1 year, all of a sudden they're amazing. Right? I mean, they're going to playoffs, right? You're not wrong. There's teams that will take 1 to 2 years. After this one game feels like 5 years. That's what you're saying. But this is not wrong either. You're lacking patience. I get it. All of us are.
But 20 years of sucking,
I've been
who wouldn't?
That's right. It's like I want to be good. I want it to have, but again, that was the problem though with the organization itself. The past 20 years, whatever it's been. The lack of patience to actually try to build a team. Everything was shortcuts. Bringing Mike Wallace, Brandon Marshall, Jamu Sue, Tyreek Hill, trading for Jalen Ramsey, like just a bunch of guys. Let's just trade and throw away capital and spend all this money and do all this to try to shortcut our race to the top. And where did we go? Nowhere. We underperformed. We were lackluster. We're mediocre. 8-8, 5 and whatever. Now they stripped everything down. And now yes, the fans have to be patient. It sucks. But my thing is, now the organization knows you have to try to do this right. And that's why, for me, I'm cool with it. I get it. I understand it. Like, again, if week 10 comes, right, and the Dolphins, God forbid, are 0-10, which I don't think will be the case, but if the Dolphins are 0-10, yeah, FinStanza and myself and Sammy, Sammy's on that week or not for the post game, yeah, we're going to be talking about, like, this won't be a talking about, oh, they suck, man, they're 0-10. No, it's about how are they adjusting. Evan could be like, I just don't understand how Coach Hafley continues to let this guy keep playing. How Mike Taft, the safety at the Texas, how he keeps playing. Why do we still have him in there? He sucks. That would be the talk about what's going on this season, not about Oh, look at you see Coach Halfley with his capris and everything. Oh my God, bro. No, it's about that. That's what this is about this year. And again, it's as Steve Malloy would say, it's a dose of reality. That's what we're in for. And Daniel's not wrong. There are no shortcuts when it comes to chasing a Lombardi trophy. And I think Evan's on the money when he says, we talked about this. I said this. I've been saying this for years. And that's what John Alex Sullivan said, but even though he didn't do it, you draft a quarterback every year, even when you have one. Why? For a reason like today. You do it until you find one. If you got two, great. Now you have trade bait. It's going to be what it is. I'm going to miss this and that nerd. Evan, your thoughts?
Honestly, guys, like it's a new, everything today felt anew. It felt like it was something where there was no attitude. It looked like it seemed like there was a team on there. Like last year felt like it was so disjointed. The first year it was nice because it was something new and fresh again, but we had a lot of stars on that football team. Now we're taking people who are leaders, whether it's a Brewer, whether it's an HN, whether it's a Brooks, whether it's a Sealer, and sprinkling in some other new players and a new coach and a new mindset where they're lockstep. And no one is getting down on each other. And you can see it on the bench. There were no individuals just doing their own thing or wearing their swag and doing it. It looked like a football team. So for me, it could take 5 years, but I want to explain something. I am living in a place where we have won the most championships in hockey ever. And we decided 4 years ago to start a rebuild. And it's gone a lot faster than we thought. We were the worst team in the league, and then we almost made it to the Stanley Cup. We almost made it to the finals in within 3 years. Anything can happen in sports if you have the right quarterback, the right head coach, the right general manager, and the right foundation. I don't care what anybody says, with the exception of Austin Jackson. You have 4 guys on the line who are going to be with you throughout this entire rebuild. How hard that is, Bobby and Sammy, to have 4 guys who are capable on a line, who stay healthy. That'd be huge for us. And then you can go draft a guard. You can go draft a guard, and I wouldn't be pissed next year. You go draft a guard, and you move Caden Proctor over to right tackle. I don't care. Go ahead. Like, I'm not worried. Build girth, build a wall. Malik Willis will develop into what he develops into. Devon Achane is a stud beyond understanding. And I'm fine. Like, everybody just has to chill and relax and enjoy football. This is fun. If they lose this year, so what? So what? All I want to see, Bobby, is effort. Meaning that if a guy throws the ball, if a kid, for example, let's say you're Chris Johnson, or let's say you're Michael Taff, or you're Kyle Lewis, or you're Trey Moore, and you have a guy who beats you, and and then the guy gets a step on you and he catches it. If you don't pull a Willie Gay and chase that guy down, get off my football team.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see. That even if you are beat, you don't stop running.
Yes,
and that's what I want to see from.
That's what we're looking for this year. I agree.
And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who want to be part of the culture.
Yes,
that they're trying to instill in this team. Before this, do you understand, guys? There was a noose around our neck from 2019. They started off with the wrong head coach.
Yep. And
then they picked another bad head coach because they had the wrong general manager. So it starts at the top. Now they don't have that problem anymore. But Sammy said all these great things about what Tom Garfinkel did for the team, but he was more on the other side of it. He was a great CEO for the business side. Now they have a guy who made who cares about the growth of this team, who has the owner's ear in a different way, and we'll see what happens. Troy Aikman's still back there. I'm sure he'll be part of the organization at some point again. He's still helping out the team. I'm very comfortable with how everything is going. So what if the defense struggles? So what if the offense struggles? Who cares? They're gonna get better. Like Sammy said, they're paid. Bobby, the payroll that they're using now, the first part of the payroll they're using now to on the team itself is what you use for the portion of your backups, and what they have in dead cap is what you use for the key players of the team. They're doing the reverse. So the fact that they're trying to build a 53-man roster with $120 million is amazing what they put together. I honestly think the things they've been able to piece together, the fact that they found ways without killing their cap for years. Next year, at this moment, they have $85 million in cap space, and it's only going to get bigger. So
that's crazy to me.
And that $85 million includes $33 million of Tua. So the team is in 2 years they're going to have like $200 million in payroll. Like, guys, just enjoy the.
That's why, like, to me,
football.
this season, and if they end up pulling a Texans Duke, right, that would be a shock to me. But again, this season to me, it's about evaluating. Watching these guys. It's basically and I hate to say that, and it's maybe sound right, but it's a long preseason with the starters, and you got to evaluate these guys. Is Malik going to be that long-term answer? Again, but I love the point Evan brought up, because you saw that today about guys working extra hard. Who are those type of guys, right? Caleb Douglas, again, a third round, fourth round pick, making that type of play, getting pulled down, and after making a play where he stepped out of bounds, coming back and getting his arm pulled.
That could be the play of the year.
That was
the play of the year.
That's effort. That's what these guys are looking for. Coach Halfley going to Ollie Gordon after, Ollie had a solid outing tonight for equal numbers to Devon Aitken minus a touchdown, but Ollie has minus that boneheaded play. But that boneheaded play could cost you a football game. It could cost you a drive. And that's why Coach Halfley, instead of being, let him just learn from it, let me focus on over here. No, he went right to him and said, what are you doing? He coached him. Those are things I'm watching this year. Duke asked this a while ago. I want to throw this up here, and I'll let you take it from here with this one. Just quickly, and then Sammy, your favorite draft pick from this last draft. Which one were you most happy about?
Last draft or this draft?
The draft that just took place.
I think it's the one that just took place.
Okay, so that was to first place. I like playmakers, and so far the guy I see making plays is Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez making play every single day, every single practice. So right now, my favorite player from that draft is Rodriguez, just because of the fact that, again, this team needs people to step up, and Rodriguez is always making a play even today. So so far when I see that, I think this team needs guys like that to step up, who are prepared, who are ready to be leaders, and who are making plays. And so far, I see Rodriguez is my favorite.
Evan?
I agree with him. If you paid attention on the first drive, the first kickoff, when Jalen Wright fumbled the ball, when he dropped the ball there, do you happen to remember, Bobby, that we got a penalty?
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
On the first play of the game, we were penalized. Do you remember?
Blocking. Yeah.
Yeah. You know who got the penalty?
No.
The guy who Jacob Rodriguez is going to take his job, and that's Terrell Dotson. So Jacob Rodriguez is going to take his job. The guy is a dog. He is Jordan Brooks and Zach Sealer's best friend. Like if you're Jacob Rodriguez, you should have three people on speed dial. Your wife, Jordan Brooks, and Zach Thomas, and you're set for. You're going to be a star. You're going to be a star. Do you know how many times they repeated on the broadcast how many awards he won last year? Like he won. He's the main reason why Texas Tech won a Big 12 championship last year. The guy is a stud on defense. He is going to. I will tell you this right now. Over under 4 forced fumbles this season. He will be a dog.
I will say for me, and I think Jacob Rodriguez is he's a guy a lot of fans loved, and they mocked him to Miami, and for him actually get drafted by the Dolphins. Sammy says that Jordan Brooks is the best linebacker since Zach Thomas. Jacob Rodriguez to me has the opportunity to be on that level. He is that type of player. He's that good. He could be that good. My favorite player from this last draft, Duke, great question. But it's a guy, again, I said it before we draft. I talked about him a lot on our draft shows and the FinStanza draft show. Chris Bell, the wide receiver, we took him. I was excited. I love him. And, the Miami has taken a guy that I've talked about. Savanea was one, Ollie Gordon the other, Chris Bell the third. Chris Bell is my favorite player that we've taken. And after seeing what Caleb Douglas did, what he's been doing in training camp, and what he did tonight, the flashes that we saw there, add in Chris Bell, and when Chris Bell's healthy, I'm ecstatic. And again, a guy who is an expression of the type of culture these guys want to bring in, because he is you think about the type of injury he has, he shouldn't be at the level he's at right now. I mean, he's running hard in the treadmill, he's on the sideline, he's trying to push himself to come back. So that's my favorite player, because that's the one I was banging the table for. But we did get, of course, Caden Proctor. I'm talking about girth on that line. We need to secure that line. Love that. Love Jacob Rodriguez. Chris Johnson is a guy that we a lot of people talked about during the draft process. Nickelback at corner, great too. Like Brett says, Brooks is a good line, but the best linebacker we had in the last 10 of it was Dansby. Let's see. Duke says, about time we had dominating linebackers. That's right. So great question and great points. But again, that's what the season's about. And Brett did not get to see the game because he's at work, which is understandable. But I'll tell him again, get a chance, go check out that starting drive by the offense. Go see the rest of the game. This to give Brett the 1-2 punch here. Offense looked good. Willis looked good. Achen and did well. Caleb Douglas had a big play, but we got a QB 2-3 problem for sure, right? I mean, defense, the secondary did not look good, but we did see some cool plays. Jacob Rodriguez had a big deflection there as well. So get a chance, go check out the highlights of that game. There you go. Brett says, my favorite pick was Rodriguez. He is the best player they drafted. He's impact player line. Yep, absolutely. But anyway, listen, again, this is only preseason game 1. When do we play again? Do we play Thursday night?
Saturday, I think, right?
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday against with the Giants at home.
There you go. So, of course, we'll be live that day. That'll be a triple header, right? To may do a pregame, and then you got the post game, and then you got wrestling, and it'll be a FTSN. Well, triple header for me, but anyway, it'll be a good one. But this again, I'm just excited that the season has officially started. We could all be mad and happy after a game, and this guy sucks and this guy's great and whatever.
No more joint practices.
There you go. That's even better.
Happily elected. By the way, just a quick comment. Did you happen to notice that what Dan Quinn said? I don't know if you guys brought it up in your show last night, how Hafley, he was impressed by how Hafley basically told his team there will be serious consequences internally if you start any shenanigans during the practice. Like, McDaniel wouldn't have known if it happened or not. He wasn't there. He doesn't go, like, he probably he would be in his iPad. He wouldn't know if there was fights or not. Like, the fact that this coach is actually laying down the law in joint practices, like telling them you're not going to play. You're going to have
what he showed that with Ollie Gordon in that one play when Ollie let his emotions get over him, get on him. He called him out. So he said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, but
that will cost us a drive.
Also, remember, Mike McDaniel can't reach that high.
Jeez. But anyway,
you mentioned.
Go ahead.
Ching, that's a donation for the.
Hey, I've been very.
Yes.
I've been very well behaved for the majority of the broadcast.
I will wait for the donation now. No, I mean it's a good cause. I hope somebody donates.
I'm donating.
But anyway, there you go. Brett says this is what we needed, but the front office pushed for the nice guy. Like I said, Flores may have been but he was this one. Yeah, but again, it would never have worked with Greer still in the office. Now we got 2 guys on the same page, 2 guys who are football guys, and Hafley and John Eric Sullivan, and of course Silman and Troy Aikman also in there as well.
Before we end it, Bobby, I just want to ask you, Sammy, because you both brought it up last year. Now, based on what you saw tonight at the quarterback backup position, but then also seeing the culture of Jeff Hafley, if you had to do it again, would Tua be your backup?
No.
Remember how we also let him just sit there? Can you imagine him on that sideline tonight? Like this with the group and Jeff Hafley and that mentality and the culture. You saw him today. Dolphins X was going nuts Dolphin News, all these guys were going. Everything was.
I mean, I will say,
Falcons,
probably would have been better than Quinn Ewers and and this guy. But still, no, you're right. No, I wouldn't.
They're already trolling him in Atlanta.
I know because he's starting. He started.
When does he throw out the first pitch at the Braves game? Has he done it yet? Will you be there for that, Sammy? If Tua gets invited to throw out the first pitch at a Braves game, he might give the Braves bad juju.
If I get invited, I will be there.
No, can you imagine the juju?
It's a Braves game. Can I just say though, we live in Franklin here, outside of Nashville, and beautiful small town, and they film Hallmark movies here and all that. But they had a festival. I forgot the name of the festival, but we were with the kids, and the Atlanta Braves was there. We're there. They rented out the historic theater there, and they had the Braves game playing in the theater for free. So you could go in there and sit down, get some AC. And actually, that's what I did. Even though I'm a Marlins guy, I can't stand the Braves. I did watch, and we took a picture, and then I ripped the picture. We got home and threw it away. But it was a cool thing.
You could have sent it to me, but you didn't.
I sent you my family picture. I should have done that. Put it up in your living room. My family.
Greetings from Braves country.
That's what it is. I actually said that. It did. I did. I don't know if I had a Marlins thing on, but anyway,
I just wanted to
that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Because Dolphins Twitter, that's the one thing it's the one thing I will I'll block it as much as I can. But the amount of how long will it take before the Dolphins X gets away from checking in on that guy in every game that he plays and what his stat line is? Because I'm sure through our feed while we're watching in the regular season, if the Falcons are playing and he's starting, all you're going to see is comparisons all game long.
Let me just ask this to follow up on your question, and we'll go ahead and wrap this one up, man. This was fun. We don't really do a preseason, post game, pregame, anything like that. But but we said let's go ahead and do it, man. We've been waiting, but you're welcome.
I did push it a little bit on Fins.
You did push it, yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I have been on.
Well, you come on, Sam.
I have been on.
I had to make an intro in 2 hours just for you because you wanted to do a freaking post-game show.
He had time.
Sammy, I'm coming down for fan club. Dinner's on me Saturday night, a fan club weekend after Bow Campers. Okay, dinner's on me.
Ooh, well, but let me just ask this. Let me ask this.
When Bobby decides it's the last minute and lets me know.
Let me just say, first off, shout out to everybody who is tuning in live wherever you're watching from on FTSN YouTube or on Fins TV YouTube or Fins Talk Network or Fins TV Twitter or Bobby Finstock. Appreciate you all watching wherever you're watching from. Really cool. People got over 70 people watching on Fins TV, which is really cool. So
people love late night right now. Now they're getting in. Now there's the time where they're
Bobby and I did that late night thing. It was really cool. We're gonna do a lot of that.
We're gonna do that. Yes. I'll talk to you about that. Because I said that today actually. So we will have some late night shows through.
Yeah,
but like I was gonna say, I've been on. Not Monday, but I've been on I was on Fins TV on Tuesday, then I had East Century Boys on Wednesday, then Thursday Fins Talk today, tonight, and then tomorrow WrestleMania 17 rewind. If all goes well, I know Josh has some stuff going on. We're still scheduled for that. Adrian should be joining us, but Josh has some personal stuff going on with family, so I told him let me know because family comes first always. But I'm excited about talking about WrestleMania 17. I haven't done the rewind yet to watch it, but I remember it right up here. Some people call it the greatest WrestleMania of all time, so we're going to have fun with that one. Final thoughts, FinStanza, since you are the main man right now in the box, your final thoughts for wrap this one up.
Final thoughts, A+ Stephen Ross. That's all I have to say. A+ Stephen Ross. You got a good general manager. I like what I saw from the head coach tonight, his demeanor, his attitude, the foundation of this team, the core of this team, that offensive line, the girth of that offensive line, mountain of men over there opening up. Devon Achane, he's there. Jordan Brooks, he's there. Aaron Brewer's there. Malik Willis is going to be just fine. Caleb Douglas looks already made a highlight reel catch. Malik Washington is going to be a good guy, a good veteran guy. I'm not worried about the record. I just want to see effort, and nobody on this team will last a day if they don't give 110% for Jeff Hafley. You don't buy in, See ya. You will not be on this team long.
There you go. There you go. Sammy of Fins TV. Fins TV on hiatus for this week, but on next week. Sammy, my man, thank you for staying up this late. But yeah, your final thoughts before we wrap this one up.
I'm past my bedtime.
Yeah.
Again, a preseason game. I always believe that the only way you can evaluate a preseason game is as long as the starters play. The starters on offense play very well. The defense sucked. Again, everything we said already. What we're supposed to be our bench and our backups are basically our starters. So, my expectations are not very high. I still believe this team is gonna get manhandled by many teams who are stronger. More better, just simply better. Ahead of their rebuilding schedule. The Dolphins are just getting started. So, patience, because but at least we know we have some glasses of hope. We have to wait and see every single week, but it's a day-to-day journey right now to be a Dolphins fan, because anything can happen every single week.
That's right, guys. I want to thank everyone for tuning in at this late hour. Football is back. Dolphins again play on Saturday's the next game, so we'll see. We'll hear about the aftermath of. I didn't laugh at that, but we will. I'm not going to be able. That's why I can't look at the comments anymore, because just to distract me. I just got to get through this wrap up. But I want to appreciate everybody who's watching here. Fins Talk post game show here live on FTSN, sponsored by Caneswear. If you are a Dolphins fan, Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, Marlins, anything South Florida sports, go check out Caneswear at in 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. Or if you're in Canada like FinStanza, Puerto Rico like Sammy, Nashville like me, go to caneswear.com. Great merchandise, great staff, great deals. I'm Bobby Finstock. That's FinStanza. That's Fins Sammy. This is the Fins Talk postgame show. Dolphin fans, football's here. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, as always, Fins up.